Most people are still using Claude like this. Type something, get a response, copy it, paste it somewhere else. But that's not where things are anymore. Claude can actually run your workflows, execute tasks, work with your files, and handle things end to end. But this only works if you know how to connect all the pieces. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how these fit together. So you can stop just chatting with Claude and start using it as a real automation engine for your workflows. And by the end, I'll show you real examples from official Claude Code plugins so you can see how this works in production. Here's the structure. Rules set the baseline, commands trigger actions, skills handle reusable logic, tools connect to your system, agents do the work, and plugins package everything together. Let's break it down. First is rules. In setups like Claude Code or MCP based workflows, you can define a file named claude.md. This is your baseline. Here's a real example. Core framework. Always use Playwright/test, follow the page object model. Code style, modern TypeScript, comments that explain why and not just what. You define this once and Claude follows it every time you work in this setup. This is the difference between random outputs and a predictable automation. Now commands. These are triggered using a /. Whenever you type /, you're calling a predefined workflow. And there are two ways to define these. The first way is directly inside your main file. For example, /review checks for flakiness, /pom generates structure, /run tests runs and analyzes your tests. You type the command, hit enter, and it runs. The second way is using a separate command file. This is for more detailed logic, like this one. It flags hard-coded weights, improves locator strategies, verifies assertions. And it doesn't just point out issues, it gives you corrected code. Use the main file for simple / commands. Use separate files when the logic gets more complex. Here's where the most setups break. Everything gets dumped into one ClaudeMD file and performance drops. Instead, use skills. In setups like Claude Code, these are reusable playbooks. Rules stay minimal, skills handle your complexity. And they are only used when needed, so everything stays fast and predictable. Now, tools. This is where things actually start happening. And this runs on MCP, the Model Context Protocol. This is the exact setup I'm using. Inside Claude Desktop, you can configure MCP tools using a file like this, Claude Desktop config.json. You add your MCP server here, for example, Playwright. Once this is connected, Claude can run your Playwright tests, read the results, and help you fix failures. So instead of copying errors into chat, Claude is directly working with your system. I've already made a full step-by-step video showing exactly how to connect Playwright MCP to Claude Desktop. I'll link it right here. Watch that after this if you want to set it up. And this is not limited to Playwright. MCP is quickly becoming a shared standard across tools like Claude Code, Cursor, and GitHub Copilot. Once you understand this, it applies everywhere. Next up, agents. This is where it shifts from assistance to execution. In frameworks like Claude Code, agents are defined using simple files. Each one has a role. One reviews, one analyzes, one checks for issues. When triggered, Claude coordinates them. They run independently, use tools, and then combine results. Now let's look at how this actually works in real projects. This plugin handles pull request reviews. You can see agents here, each one doing a specific job, reviewing code, checking tests, finding issues. Now look at this, front-end design. This entire plugin is driven by a single skill file. And this is not just code instructions, this is design thinking. Before writing any code, it forces Claude to think about the purpose, the audience, the tone, And what makes this design memorable? It even pushes for a strong aesthetic direction. Minimal, brutalist, playful, editorial, not generic UI. Then it defines how to execute that vision. Typography, color systems, motion, layout, visual depth, and it explicitly prevents generic AI design. You'll also find commands here. Same idea. Slash commands triggering structured workflows. So everything we covered, rules, commands, skills, tools, agents, all packed together. You drop it into a new project and everything is ready instantly. If this helped you unlock Claude, like, share it with your team and subscribe to JKC tutorials. And don't stop here. Click the video on your screen to set up MCP step by step.
Thanks for watching, and we hope you have a great day of happy learning with us at JKC Tutorials.